Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Vitamin K. Tatiana K here, your dietitian and personal trainer. So this month of March is National Nutrition Month. And if you've noticed, I haven't really posted a video recently, and that's because I've been super busy with my new job as a clinical dietitian. And I'll probably make a whole new video on that coming soon. So this video is going to be about intermittent fasting and my experience with it because I've been doing it for over a month now, and I'd like to share with you how I have felt being on this so-called diet. So first we need to clarify what intermittent fasting is, and that is voluntarily abstaining from food. So it's not like starvation. Fasting is different in the fact that it's used for health or religious purposes. Now, I'm sure you've had a friend that follows a certain religion that has fasted for 24 hours. The type of fasting that I'm doing is called time-restricted feeding. And let me go over the types of fasting before I get into the type I am doing. So there's the time-restricted feeding, the 24-hour fast, and the alternate day fast. The 24-hour fast is when you have completely abstained from food for 24 hours, so it could be from 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. the following day. Alternate day fasting is not my favorite, and I really don't even want to talk about it too much, but it's when you eat normally one day and then the next day you eat less than 500 calories, and then you go back to eating normally. And I don't like anything that restricts calories because I feel like that is way too hard and it is restrictive. You know, me, I do not like restricting anything or else I go crazy. So that brings me back to the time restricted feeding intermittent fasting. And that is and you might be thinking, okay, well that's restricting, but it really isn't. Time restricted feeding isn't what to eat, it's when to eat. And so with time restricted feeding, you're given an 8-hour feeding window and a 16-hour fasting window. And some people like to do 6 hours with a 18-hour fasting window. The 8-hour feeding window, 16-hour fasting window is the most popular type of fasting at the moment. It's kind of a fad, which makes me a little hesitant to say that I actually do like it and I recommend it to some of my clients. Now, I would not recommend it to everybody because it isn't for everybody, especially if you really love breakfast. Not for you. With time restricted feeding, you don't watch your calories, you don't really even need to watch what you eat, and you usually will maintain your weight. However, this is where it can get tricky because people think they can eat whatever they want in their feeding window, and they won't gain weight. Most of the time they will not gain weight if they eat whatever they want. However, our body still needs certain nutrients and needs less of other nutrients like saturated fat, trans fat. During your feeding window, you should be eating enough calories though to sustain your body's energy. So for example, I need at least 1,200 calories just for my organs to function. So I'm gonna eat more food at each meal than I would have done before. During the fasting window, the only thing you can consume is water, black coffee, or unsweetened tea. So I've been trialing intermittent fasting for over a month now, and I do have to say I love it. My first few weeks, I did notice a dramatic weight loss. I was not trying to lose weight, I was just trying to maintain or see how I felt while doing intermittent fasting, but I did notice a weight drop. And I probably lost like those 4 to 5 stubborn pounds that I have not been able to lose for a really long time. But as soon as I started this, I really wasn't even restricting my calories or watching when I was eating, my sugar intake or anything else. I was enjoying the foods that I really like. I was still trying to add fruits and vegetables because we all know I struggle with that, but I really wasn't watching what I was eating. I was still enjoying my ice cream and cookies a few times a week, and I haven't had a problem with my weight. So after those few weeks of that dramatic weight loss, I did not lose any more weight. It kind of stabilized. The weight loss isn't really the reason why I love intermittent fasting though. It's actually the mental clarity that I get in the morning before I start to eat. After I eat my first meal, which is around 11 or 12, I lose that mental focus that I had all morning. And there's a simple explanation for this. After we eat, more blood flow needs to go down to the digestive system because we need to digest our food and we need plenty of oxygen to be down there. And so instead of going to the brain, the blood flow is focused more on the digestive system. And so this is why after a really big lunch or a really big dinner, we can't really focus as much as we could have with an empty stomach. If you're still having some issues with a little bit of extra weight, I would go ahead and try intermittent fasting and see if it's for you, especially if you're one that already skips breakfast. Then go for the intermittent fasting, shoot for your first meal around 11 or 12, and then finish your window at like 7 or 8 p.m. And after that, no more food. Like I said though, it's not for everybody. At first, I thought I would never be able to do this because I was a huge breakfast person, but I have noticed such a big difference in my mental clarity with skipping breakfast and having my first meal around 11 or 12. And I still get to enjoy my black coffee in the morning, which is usually the best part of my day. So it's not like nothing that I really love is taken away. What made me decide to do intermittent fasting was this book I was reading called The Obesity Code. And if you are a healthcare professional or you can understand some terms, I recommend reading The Obesity Code because it is brilliant and it's things that I assumed but I never was taught in school. For example, snacking. We think, oh my goodness, it boosts your metabolism. You're burning more calories because you're eating snacks. When in reality, you're not really giving your body rest to digest your food from the meal previously. So a new thing that I practice is not snacking as much. Whereas before I was always eating, always snacking because I thought, oh my gosh, I can't lose my muscle. Like I need to keep eating protein. That is not the case. When you're fasting, you actually produce more growth hormone. So that helps you retain your muscle. So don't worry about losing any muscle. All the research supports that when you do lose weight from intermittent fasting, it's not muscle, it's usually all fat. And usually that fat that you lose is visceral fat, which is inside around your organs, and we don't want fat there. So that's why intermittent fasting has been used for health purposes. So that has been my experience with intermittent fasting, time-restricted feeding. If you have any questions, leave a comment below and I'll be happy to answer. See you guys next time.